What's up, y'all? It's Ruby, and it is Friday. TGIF, TGIF. But before I went and go into the house of my family and kind of wind down from the week, I wanted to just make this video to share. I guess a lesson that is just sitting with me. And so it's been a pretty strange week for me. Every day, every week is a great one, is a blessed one. You know how they say every day above ground is a good day. So I am first of all a believer of that. But there was a certain situation that happened this week with one of my students. Of course, I would not share his or her name, but this particular interaction it's just been sitting with me. I could not get it off my mind. I could not get it off my heart. It was just taking up just way too much real estate, and I just, mental, emotional real estate. And so when things like that happen to me, I just, in order for me to find peace with it or to kind of ease up off of it, I have to take a lesson from it. And when I did, I wanted to share. Okay. And so basically the lesson is, we really have to stop giving ourselves such a hard time. Like, we give ourselves such a hard time. And I'm saying that in terms of like, when something good happens to us, or when we're doing well, or when we're getting great grades, or when we get an increase in finances or whatever, we will be quick to question, like, why me? Or question, why is this happening to me? Are you sure this is not what I'm used to? So is this a mistake? And it's just all of these questions, and I just want to flip that around just as a people, because me too, I've gotten better with this, but just in general, like, why not you? And that's what I have to ask myself now. I'm like, why not me? Because I had to get better with that. I had to train my mind and my words, because words are powerful. What you say is literally what it is. And I tell my students that all the time. You have to be intentional about what you're doing, about what you're saying, all of that, because it is in fact the truth. It is what it is, right? But we have to train ourselves in saying, why not me? Of course me. If it's not me, then who else? And I'm saying this knowing that you have put in the work. Whether it comes to the ethic and literally showing up on time, in terms of classes, or taking a new schooling involved. Like, you have studied, you have done your flashcards. And just knowing, like, if you've done that, then why shouldn't you reap those benefits? Like, think about farmers. When they plant their crops, right? And they sit and wait, and it's springtime and it actually blossoms. Do you think they question, why are their crops growing? Do you think they question their harvest season if they know months ago, weeks ago, the hard work that they put in, digging, planting, watering, all of that? They put in the hard work, and there was not immediate results. It takes time. It takes them watering the plant and coming out the next day and seeing nothing. And one day when they wake up and go outside into their farmland, oh my God, there's crops there, right? They're happy that it happened. They're excited to finally see the fruits of their labor. But do you think they question, why is this here? Where did this come from? Are you sure this should be the crops that I harvest? Absolutely not. They don't have those type of questions, right? And so why do we have to? Or why do we do that to ourselves? And again, I'm speaking to myself too. Okay? So basically this week, the little bit of back history is I am the owner, director of a 12-week dental assisting program. I used to be the chief of everything. Like, I was the admissions person. I would answer the phone. And when the lead would come into the door for a tour, I was the tour guide, giving them a tour. They turn around, I'm talking to them about tuition options and payment arrangements. And then when they come to class, I am there greeting them at the door as their instructor. I mean, y'all, I was absolutely everything. And so 9 years later into having my business, DA Academy, very successful, fully licensed dental assistant program here in North Carolina, in Charlotte, North Carolina. Shout out to DA Academy. But anyways, I will pretty much substitute if I need to as an instructor. I will be happy. I will be glad to fill in for any of my instructors that need me to, for whatever reason, vacation, not feeling well, whatever it may be. But my point is, I do not instruct full time anymore, and of course I miss it. I mean, somewhat, but I mean, that was the goal, that was the goal. But anyways, that's another video. So, but when it comes to new hires, new instructors, I still have my hands on that because I take pride in my curriculum and just the protocols of my instructors and just my academy as a whole. So I will hands-on train my instructors for 12 weeks and more, but definitely for 12 weeks, okay? So if I'm hiring someone on, the training process looks like them sitting in as a student and me as the instructor. So they're watching my style of a lecture. They're watching exactly how, when it's a clinical evening or clinical afternoon, how they would put their clinicals together. And so 12 weeks of this, the instructor, of course, will curate their own style of instructing, but the curriculum and what is covered, what is touched on, does not change. It remains the same across the board. And so that is pretty much how I have constructed my whole training program when it comes to my instructors. So right now I am teaching a class full time, while at the same time I'm not just training one instructor, but I actually have two instructors. Okay. And so as I'm teaching right now, there's two instructors sitting in on the lecture. There's two instructors, which is very good for this current class actually. But for the clinical portion, there is three of us there, myself and the two instructors. And so this particular group of students has a lot of access to dental professionals, and so they should be top tier. Okay, but anyways, while we were in clinics this week, one of the students, I kind of heard, we have stations, and so I kind of encouraged them to do the stations on their own, and then we are there shadowing, walking around. I don't like to be just a helicopter, because that is how people learn. We learn through mistakes. Students, myself, we learn through mistakes. When we make a mistake and we can recognize the mistake that we made, that's learning. Okay. And so if I'm just being a helicopter instructor and just helping them on every step of the way, they don't learn, they don't grow that way. Okay. So I hear whimpering. I'm like, what? And I look back there at the x-ray station, and over there, this particular student is like going through the x-rays with tooth identification. And so I'm like, are you okay? Is everything okay? Like, did something happen? And they look at me with just, at this moment, it was just kind of watery eyes. And then I sat down beside him, and I'm like, you know, do you need help? Like, what's happening? And then they go on to explain and just bawling. He starts bawling and uncontrollably. Eyes go from just being watery to bloodshot red. And of course, in the moment, I consoled this person and just was like, what's going on? Like, first of all, are you okay? Are you hurt? Like, do I need to call the ambulance? And they're like, no, I'm just so unsure about this tooth identification. I just can't get it right. I'm so confused. I am so unsure of my answers, and I don't know why. I just don't get it. And I'm looking at them just kind of shocked, because this particular person, the last assessment, so far we've had 2 assessments, 1 quiz, and a pop quiz. No, a clinical x-ray. Yeah, clinical x-ray. So basically, there has been 4 grades so far. And when I say this person has made 100, 109, 104 on their exams, I'm looking at them strange, because I'm confused. They're talking about they're confused. I'm confused. Okay, let me just get it out because I keep messing it up. It is a she. I was trying to just not even disclose that, but I can't help it. Okay, so she is such a bright student. And of course, all of our students are bright. Almost 98% of them do extremely well. But she is like, y'all, basically the valedictorian of this class already. And like, so that's why I said you'll really be surprised on what people are really dealing with, like internally or mentally, emotionally. Like, I would have never thought that she was feeling this bad about herself. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, look at, like, your scores, your grades speak for itself. Like, and then I had to just go into this therapist, counselor, mother mode and speak life into her. I'm just like, the first thing I actually said to her was like, you got to stop. And she's like, I said, you got to stop. You got to stop. And she's like, what? I said, you have to stop giving yourself such a hard time. Like, yes, it's hard. Yes, it's challenging, but look at your grades. Look at what you're doing. And look how much you have learned in just a matter of these few weeks. Like, last month, or at this point, it's like 2 months ago, you had no idea what tooth numbers, names, anything at all. You had no idea anything to do with dentistry. You had no idea at all. And now she can have conversations. She knows tooth numbers, tooth names, and all of this. And she is yet sitting here in tears, so unsure of herself, feeling like crap, because she's telling herself that in her mind. She's telling herself that in her mind. And I just told her, like, you have to stop. Like, and I just told her, it's easy for me to say that. But again, that's why I'm making this video, is because it has to be deeper. And so just in talking with her, she does go on to tell me that she has always been this worrisome student, this worrisome person since I forgot what age she said. I want to say she said around 8 years old. But she said since elementary school. And then I'm just sitting there listening. I'm like, really? Okay, well, I'm glad you shared that with me, because that makes a lot of sense. Like, that helps me understand why you feel like you're doing terribly bad, and me on the other end, you're doing amazing. Like, you're passing with flying colors, honey. Like, you need to be tutoring the other students or in the other classes and all of that. So she tells me she's always worried about her grades, and she's just always been so unsure, even though she's performed well. And then she takes it even further and says all she remembers from kindergarten is her grandmother doing all of her work her homework, her projects. She said she remembered going to school and she would have this perfectly constructed trifold board, and she had no parts of putting the project together. She said her grandmother would just completely coddle her and do everything for her. And she said since then, even though she has performed well, she still lingers, that insecurity still lingers, that she is not enough. She is not doing enough. She doesn't really understand it. And that right there lets me know that it's deeper. And if we don't do the work as a person for our future to identify our triggers and our traumas, it's going to forever be that baggage or that little suitcase that we're going to forever have to trail along with us in our journey. And we have to be able to figure it out so we can stop and unpack that suitcase. We have to lighten our load, mental load, emotional load, because at that moment, we can then speak life into ourselves, like I spoke into her, to say things like, I am deserving. I am doing the work. I am putting in the time to study. Therefore, I am getting great grades. Therefore, I am comfortable speaking on the things I'm learning in class with a smile, with confidence, without having to say, I'm so confused. I don't understand. Wait, what? What are we doing? Where? Like, she says that all day long. And I'm looking at her like, this cannot be the same person making 100s and 106s and A++++. Like, it just wasn't adding up. And so I love that I was able to have that moment to connect with her and to really just be a listening ear as to why she would speak about herself and how she was feeling that way. And I just told her, like, it's just so unfair to you. You're being so unfair to you. And I just told her, like, you deserve it. Those A's, those 100+, the fact that you're in school again, and she has kids and all of that. She's like, she's like, I don't want to fail them. I said, you're not failing them. That's what you need to tell yourself. That's what you need to realize. You're making them proud. You're making them happy. You're getting them excited. You're displaying that it's never over, that hope is there if you just grasp it, And so, yeah, it was a beautiful moment. And at the end of the clinical night, I'm talking to another student about getting placed in an externship, and the student that I had that moment with, she's just kind of lingering around, and I'm like, oh gosh, is she okay? I'm just, at this point, I'm kind of worried, like, oh, what now? And then when that one student left that I was speaking to, she waited a few minutes for me, and it was just me and her, and she's like, I was like, what's up? Like, everything good? And she's like, she told me, yes, I just wanted to thank you. And that got me, like, so emotional. Like, I'm trying not to cry right now, but I'm just like, And she's like, I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you for pouring into me tonight, and just thank you for being there. And she gave me the tightest hug. And I just, of course, I'm glad we had that moment. I'm glad I could be there. You're welcome. And I didn't even say this, but I'm saying this in this video. Maybe she'll watch it, and I'm going to see her again. And if we ever talk about it again, but I wanted to thank her, that's really what I should have said, because moments like that is what I do it for. Moments like that is what gets me going. keeps me strong and hopeful, and it just lets me know that I am doing the right thing and that I am in the right lane of my passion. And I'm just so thankful. And again, I just wanted to bring it over here to you to share that message, is that, you know, we really have to dig deep and unpack that suitcase of trauma, of heaviness, of uncertainty, and really put in the work to move forward and to progress in the right direction in all areas of our lives, right? And so that when the good and the increase and the positive and the new happens, we can accept it just 100,000%, just embrace it and accept it and know that it is for us, that it was earned and we are deserving, and it all falls into place the way it should if we did the right thing to earn it. Okay? So that was it. I'm about to go in and enjoy the rest of my evening with my family. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you were able to take away something from it, from my rambling. But yeah, I definitely had to share that story because it was weighing so heavy on me since it happened. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you listening.